Hi, welcome to the Universe of Business and Life podcast. I'm your host, Barb Patterson, and today you get a solo episode with me. I want to talk about decision making. Recently, I was listening to a business podcast, and they were talking about one of the key traits that they noticed when they've done research on successful entrepreneurs is their ability to make fast decisions. Now, just a caveat here. They're not saying reckless decisions or that there isn't any thought put around it, but they're quick to decide. And that really stood out for me. And what they talked about was the reason is that most entrepreneurs understand that regardless of the decision, if it's between two options, that both are going to create challenges. Like there's rarely a decision, if ever, that gets made that doesn't come with challenges or elements of the unknown. So their ability to decide quick and step into action and then navigate and adjust and respond allows momentum to keep going in their business. And this really struck me for a couple of reasons. One is a number of years ago, I had to buy a new car. I had a really nice little Mini. I loved it. It was very fun. And it was only about 4 years old, and the whole exhaust system kind of crashed. And it was the first year of a new model, which I've since learned apparently you're not supposed to do. But anyway, I digress. During that decision, I got really stuck wondering what to do because, of course, the timing of it was such that I had one more car payment left and the repairs were going to be somewhere around $6,000. Or do I just get a brand new car and then have monthly payments? Get it fixed, pay the $6,000 and hope that I don't have a lemon, or just get a new car and go back to new monthly payments. Well, after a couple of days, I realized how heavy this decision was inside of me. And I kind of laughed at myself and was like, Barb, you're not really deciding world peace here. It's just, what are you going to do? You need to decide. And as soon as I saw how heavy and serious I was holding it, I realized, I have something connected here. I think that this decision is going to predict my future financial status. In other words, that whatever decision I make could create future complication around my finances. But when I saw that and really saw it in the light of day, I realized that's not true. And here's why it's not true. Yes, our choices and decisions have consequences, right? They have implications. But the idea that any choice I would make in that moment was going to predict my financial future is a misunderstanding. Because regardless of choice, similar to those entrepreneurs we were talking about a moment ago, regardless of the implication, I can respond. That each of us has within us this immense creative potential of our minds. We have innate resilience. So that doesn't get diminished by the choices I make. That just is. So any choice, any decision we make, we still bring with us the innate capacity we have to respond, to listen, to navigate, to adjust when needed, and to keep things moving. So once I saw, I had this decision linked to future financial success, and I saw the misunderstanding in that, I was able to let go. And then I started to really wonder, does any decision really matter? Now, again, don't hear me say there aren't implications, but I saw in that moment how I have a habit of hesitation, that often I fall in the camp of this idea that if I think about it enough before I decide, that somehow I'll make a better decision, or that if I think about it enough internally, maybe I can guarantee the outcome or guarantee the smooth ride. Well, again, that began to kind of crumble and fall away in a really helpful way, because I realized that If we can step into action, just make the decision, we bring that resourcefulness with us. Sometimes those overthinking moments are ultimately maybe perhaps us trying to avoid something that we've made up in our mind. So do you relate? Do you have any decisions or any ideas that you've been nudged on? Maybe a creative idea, maybe a transition that you want to make in your business, maybe something new you want to try out. But you find yourself trying to get it in order first. Is it the right decision? Is it the best decision? Are you what if scenario planning yourself into paralysis? I've stated before, you would hope that that realization would then change and I just become this free spirited decision maker. Not so much. It wasn't that long ago, just in the last few months, that I realized I had another potential thing getting in the way of me creating more momentum in my business or taking action. I'm offering a new program. It's a 4-month small group, intimate, deep dive coaching program. And it has some new elements, things that I haven't done in the past, but I'm super excited about it. And when I was creating the outline of it and the PDF and speaking into it, I was so inspired and really excited. And I did this fairly quickly, like, okay, this is it. I'm going to do it. My plan was, okay, tomorrow morning, I'm just going to invite people. Well, about 10 days later, I realized, oh man, I have been in a pattern of hesitation here. Because what started to happen in a very innocent way and very reasonable, rational thinking came in. Like, is that the right weekend for the kickoff retreat? Maybe I'm not giving people enough time. Oh, have I really articulated this in the best way? So I was going back and revisiting the PDF, trying to get it perfect. And then I was second guessing and trying to get clear about the dates. And then ultimately what I realized was, oh, I'm doing that. Here's another version of that same thing of hesitation around decision or hesitation around inviting people. Perhaps I was avoiding a difficult feeling. So hang with me here. But sometimes decisions can become cumbersome or difficult because we're trying to make them and feel really good about it. We're trying to make them feeling confident or step into the action that's required with a guarantee that we're going to get it right or that it's going to work out the way we want or we're going to be okay. And ultimately, I didn't know that. It's a new offering. All I knew was that I was inspired and it felt really aligned and that there were people I wanted to invite. So I had to get comfortable with the feeling of sending this out with no guarantee, sending it out and people might read it and go, no thanks. Or people might read it and go, what is she doing? Or people might read it and say, yes, who knows, right? But I saw that in the unconscious way almost, that I had really been avoiding the feeling of uncertainty or insecurity around it. Now it's subtle. It's really subtle, but it wasn't until I realized, oh, you're just a little nervous about it. You're just aren't sure this is going to work. And so somehow you slip back into overthinking it, trying to figure it all out so that you improve your odds. So I share that again, just to say that what if we realize that there is no guarantee with any certain kind of decision, that we can handle the uncertainty, maybe the insecurity, maybe the vulnerability that you might feel when you're offering something new or stepping into uncharted territory. That again, in the same way I talked about with the car, that our minds are designed to be creative, that the creative potential and being able to respond is a constant. It's not compromised by choice. Well, the same is true for us, that we can step into the unknown. We can step into uncertainty, and we have it within us to find our bearings. We have it within us to rise to the occasion. We have it within us to navigate those feelings. And the more we allow ourselves to step in, to make the choice, what we discover is what we're made of. What we discover is there actual traction in this or not? Is this a good idea or not? We can't always think our way into that knowing. Often in our businesses and in our lives, or those things we want to try out, it's a willingness to step into the unknown. It's a willingness to make the choice, to decide yes or no, to decide left or right, to decide this thing or that thing. That if we can get over the decision paralysis and overthinking and just step into it, what we really discover is we have what it takes. And we can adjust and we can find our way. And there's something really valuable in discovering that about ourselves along the way. So I want to encourage you, if there's any place where making a decision is looking scary or like something's really at stake, check in. Is that a trick of the mind? Is it an avoidance of an uncomfortable feeling or the unknown? And what would be possible for yourself, for your business, for your life if you decided to do it anyway? To just decide, to just pick and step into it and see what you discover. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you for listening. I'd love to hear any reflections you have. And if you're enjoying this episode and you think or know anyone that would benefit from it, please share it. Thank you so much. As always, thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this podcast, it would mean a lot to us if you could take a moment to first subscribe and follow wherever you like to listen to podcasts. Hitting the follow button means you'll never miss a show. All you have to do is hit the plus sign in the upper right-hand corner or click on follow. While you're there, if you like what you're hearing, we'd appreciate you taking a moment to give us a shout out and review. Most importantly, however, if you know anyone that would benefit from this episode, please pass it along. And finally, if you'd like to learn more about my work, Innerverse Academy, or upcoming events, you can check out my website at barbarpatterson.com. You'll find some great resources, classes, and videos, and a lot more. Thank you again for being here. See you next time.